Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Ay, ay, ay. I
It's
had a rough time last night. I didn't fall asleep until 2 because my stomach hurt really bad. I felt like I was having a bunch of Braxton Hicks, but then also my stomach killed. So I wasn't feeling good. Didn't fall asleep till like 2. And then my cat at 6 in the morning kept like waking me up between 6 and whenever I had to get up. So I feel like I've just gotten no sleep. I feel like I look rough, but
oh my gosh.
yeah, so it was a rough night last night. I'm just tired, and then today's been crazy. But Eleanor, I think just finally fell asleep for her nap, and we've been trying since 1:30. But
Oh
she's
my word.
just, and this is unlike her. So I'm like, oh no, is she going through a regression, which we haven't had since like 9 months. So maybe we're due. But she was just talking in her crib, and then like Rob took her out. She was in there for an hour, nothing. So Rob took her out for a half hour. He read her a book. He kind of like gave her some milk and was kind of resetting and then put her back in. And then she was just like really upset, which she's probably overtired now, and was like crying, going, mama, 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 mama. And then finally, we went in there one more time. We were like, we just talked to her, said you got to go to bed and blah, blah, blah. And so I haven't heard anything in like 10 minutes. So I think she's asleep, but like, what
She
in the
might
world?
be now.
So we were doing that today. But
That's never fun. I will say that is the worst. Like that nap time is like key. Like you never want to miss the nap time and then it's like
mhm. I know. Rob's like, I didn't get any downtime today to do anything. And I'm like, yeah, I know it sucks it happened. So maybe he'll get a little time now. Um, but I ordered Christmas pajamas. I ordered it through the children's place this time. I didn't do little sleepies because I just feel like they're expensive. I didn't want to have to buy for the whole family. I thought maybe if they would have had the ones we bought last year, and I could have bought Eleanor's new size, I would have done that, but I didn't want to spend another like $100 even with the sale to get Christmas pajamas. So I decided to go
yeah.
through a children's place because they were really cheap and they were on sale. So I got like these cute onesies for me and Rob, and then cute one for Eleanor that are all matching. Well, I got a delivery last week and I open it and the box is huge, like huge. And I open it and I'm like, it's like girl clothes, 3T, and a bunch of shoes, like huge box. And I'm like, this is not my pajamas.
Is it from the same place? It's from the
Uh-huh. It
children's
was
place?
from the place and it had my name on it. So they must have given me somebody else's order. And so I call and I'm like, hey, I didn't get this. So I don't even know if we're gonna get our PJs by Christmas at this point. But
But is it clothes that will fit Eleanor?
yeah, it'll fit her. And then because they're resending, but they were like, you can keep it. I'm like, oh sweet. So I got like a whole new 3T wardrobe for Eleanor, which I was like, that's pretty cool. It's honestly probably like $200 to $300 worth of clothes.
Dang.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I know. And then last week I had an ultrasound.
Hmm.
So first ultrasound since 20 weeks. So we haven't seen Lil Bub in a while, but he was 46 percentile. He's 4 pounds, head down. Everything looked good, except he was all scrunched up, hands in his face, so we couldn't get like really good pictures. But I feel good about that. And then they have me going back at 36 weeks for another just like growth
Scan.
ultrasound. Yeah. And then yesterday we saw Santa. We saw Mall Santa. We were supposed to go to like a tree, what do they call it? Like a tree farm, and you
Mhm.
could see Santa, and it's just more of like a better environment atmosphere. But the place we were going to closed down early. They like closed down last weekend, which I thought was, or the weekend before, which I thought was, they're supposed to not. But anyways, we just decided we already told her she was going to go see Santa. So we saw Mall Santa, but she was so excited. And then she gets there, and in the picture, she's just like straight faced, like no smile, no nothing. She wouldn't give
She's
us
like not
anything.
having it.
Oh, but it was just so funny because she was so excited. And then we're about to leave and she's like smiling and waving. I'm like, girl, you are something else. Oh,
Oh,
man, but that's our update. It's just I feel ready for vacation from
I know,
work
I
and
just want
everything.
like, I want to be through this week, like, it's
Uh-huh.
so busy
I
this
know.
week, and I just wanna get to, like, that Christmas shutdown, not, like, shutdown, but
Yeah.
vacation time that I have.
Mhm. Me too.
Um, we had a long, busy weekend. We went to Great Wolf Lodge.
Yeah, how did that go?
First of all, that was, like, perfect for young kids, like, I would say, like, you have a kid under, like, 9 or 10, like, it's
Mhm.
perfect. They have a bunch of, like, activities going on all the time. Like they had Santa stories. You could take pictures with Santa. Of course, that was always during the time that we were going swimming, so we missed it.
No.
Um, they had like crafts and they had like a dance party until 11 o'clock for the wolves. They were hollowing, howling, like, oh my god, we're trying to go to bed here.
Oh my gosh.
um, but he was not feeling the water park at first. Like when we first went in
Oh.
there, like
Mhm.
he was a little sketched about it, and then he went down the little toddler slide because there's like a toddler pool,
Yeah.
and he went down the toddler slide, and Austin put him down, and he went underwater, full underwater, and then Austin like races down and gets him, and then he was standing next to me, and he just like slid down for some reason, went underwater again. I'm like, oh my god, like we need to put a life jacket on this kid. So I put a life jacket on him, and then 5 minutes later, this, like, grandpa tried to take, his toddler down the slide, and he took her down, and she, like, went underwater, so then he, like, tried to, like, grab her from going underwater, but then he slipped and hit Axel, and Axel, like, just, like, went backwards on the life jacket. I'm like, "See? This is why we put the life jacket on him."
I know,
Ugh.
water's scary though too, like
Yeah, but
uh,
he was very much, they had, like, little, fountains in the toddler
mhm.
area, he liked that. Then they had, like, water slides for toddlers, so we put him down that. He kept doing, like, he didn't wanna go, he was, like, crying, and then you would
Mhm.
put him down it, and then he would just sign again, and I'm like, "Okay, well, you look like you hate it in the video," and we're
Literally, this was like Disney for us too. She, like, hated the rides while we were on it, but we would be done. She'd be like, "Okay, another one."
yeah, yeah. So he went down the 2 water slides, we went in the lazy river. He didn't like that at first, but then he was mad, like, just signing more and more and more to go back in there.
Aw.
And then we tried to just go, like, in the water with the life jacket and, like, have him practice, like,
Mhm.
kicking his feet, just feeling the water.
Yeah.
Not having that. So,
No.
but it was fun. We spent, like, 20, 30 minutes in the water the 2 days we were there, and I got him what's called a pup pass.
Mhm.
So we got, like, a scoop of ice cream, a small thing of candy, a free Build-A-Bear, and then a free $5 arcade game card.
Yeah.
So we made the Build-A-Bear. He picked the ugliest dragon ever, but that's the one he picked. I was like, "Look at the cute chameleon or the
Yeah.
bear." No, we picked the glow in the dark dragon. Whatever. That was hard though because there was only one person there and he was not like, wanting to wait around to stuff the bear.
Mhm.
The ice cream was okay. The candy was a good deal. I got the $5 gift card for the arcade, and that was like the last thing we were doing. And he was walking around with Austin, looking at all the cool things. And Austin's like, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" I dropped the arcade card,
Oh,
and
no.
like someone must have picked it up
Oh,
because it was gone.
no.
It was only $5, so you could only
Yeah.
play 2 games. But like, I mean, he was fine just like sitting there driving the car that wasn't even turned on anyway. So we just
Yeah.
did that instead. But I felt so bad because I'm like, this is like, and how does someone take it like that fast? Like, I noticed so quickly that I had dropped it and it was just gone.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Somebody finds it and they're like, "Oh, bye, bye."
hmm yeah. So I hope they couldn't like charge anything else to it. I'm pretty sure you have to reload them yourself,
Yeah, probably.
um, but yeah, it was really cool. It was interesting. We had like those, the bracelets for the water park, but that was
Mhm.
also your key to your room.
Oh, interesting.
So you just like scan your bracelet, kind of like Disney, but it was like a waterproof bracelet. It wasn't like a full
But you could
fancy
take it on and
Disney bracelet.
off?
No, it's like one of those ones that stay on, like at a
Oh,
water
okay.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting. But
Hmm.
overall, I rate it probably like a 7 or an 8.
Oh,
Really
okay.
liked it.
Yeah.
I would say it'd probably be better if we had like, you know, 5 to 6 year olds that could run around and play in the park
Yeah.
without you having to hold their hand, and you could just sit there, drink some beer at the lounge. But,
That
you
could be
know,
a fun trip, I feel like, with friends,
yeah, like
like your family, our
friends and
family,
kids.
like with
Yeah.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how I had gone with my mom
Mhm.
and her friend or whatever,
Yeah.
like their kids, like when we went when we were younger. But yeah, I mean, like there's just kids in pajamas, parents in pajamas, it's just
Mhm.
like it's not weird to just have a kid screaming and crying and running around. So it
Yeah.
was a nice like atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a good place to bring toddlers. Sounds
Yeah.
fun. We'll have to maybe go sometime, maybe in the next few years.
So yeah, overall, Great Wolf Lodge. That
Mhm.
was good. That was fun. I mean, the bed was actually comfortable, and they
Oh,
had
yeah.
like in the room it was like a den, a lot. It was like a bunk beds for kids, and so we tried to put
Oh.
the pack and play in there. That didn't work out. We
Mm.
hate the pack and play. I don't know why. Um, yeah, so we just slept with a toddler in our bed both nights, which
How
is
did that
fine when he
go?
sleeps fine. But then at 3 o'clock in the morning, when I wake up to him staring at me, saying "Wawa, Wawa," like, "Oh, okay. You want some water? What's like what?" And then like he's like moving around, like he moves so much, and he's moving
Mhm.
around, and I'm like, "What's going on?" What? He's like, "Dough." I'm like, "Okay, here's your bow. Like, here, like, go back to bed." And then he takes it, puts it back in, and then like now I'm awake because
Mhm.
when you're pregnant and you wake up, you can't like go back to bed.
Yep.
So I'm like taking a sip of my water, and then he's like, "Wawa, Wawa." I'm like, and then like I'm like hiding under the blanket to try and look at my phone, and his head is just coming over the side of me, like
Oh my gosh. He's like, "I
so
know you're
both
awake."
yeah, so both nights from like 3 to 4 we were up, but he slept until like 8 or 9 both days, so that worked
Yeah.
out. That was just a
Oh my gosh.
lot.
That's the hard part. I don't know how people sometimes, like, sleep with their I mean, especially pregnant, like, I'm up and down, up and down, up and down, like, if my kid were in bed with me, 1, they would make wake me up a ton, and 2, I'd probably wake up them up a ton.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I would like he sleeps sideways. His head
Mhm.
is literally in my neck. His feet are on Austin,
Mhm.
shoving his finger in Austin's ear, shoving his finger in my nose. Like I'm just no.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
know. It's so funny.
I just can't. So
Uh,
yeah, and we took a little pit stop. We drove down to see my cousin
mhm.
in the hospital where he's waiting for his heart and liver transplant. So that was a
Yeah.
nice surprise. And yeah, we got to eat lunch with him at the hospital, and
Nice.
yeah. And then I've just been doing I had a conversation with my therapist, and I've been talking about this birth plan thing
Mhm.
and the doula and blah blah blah. Like
Yeah.
I did some researching. I think I'm going to talk to another doula. I just haven't had time to reach out yet.
Yeah.
And um it was just very interesting the way my therapist had said this, because she said she has 2 kids, whatever. And she said for her first labor, she didn't have a plan. The second labor, she had a plan. And basically anybody that walked into the room, she's like, I realized that I had control of this
Mhm.
process the second time around. And so anyone
Mhm.
that walked in the room, I was like, do you have or have you read the birth plan? Like,
Yeah.
people were not like she wouldn't let anyone like do anything unless they had read the birth plan. She was like, if they were touching me or giving me medication, she would say, okay, tell me why and what the purpose is of it
Mhm.
before they did it. um and she basically like wrote out such a detailed plan. And like I thought about this because I started to get super detailed with my plan with Axel, and then I just kind of like, it'll happen the way it happened,
Yeah. Mhm.
and I almost was like, okay, it's like nitty gritty to be that detailed, but like I want to be in my own clothes, and like I
Yeah.
want to have music
Mhm.
on in the background or something. And so it was just very interesting, like what she was saying. And she's like, honestly, like even if you didn't end up going with a doula, um, you can be very strict and very stringent on the birth plan and make sure, your husband, your mom, whoever else is with you is very in tune with what
Mhm.
you want as well, which is not something I didn't debrief them before I went in last time. So when I'm
Yeah.
like, I need this, then they're just okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
I
think
do
that
like I do like that part where she mentioned, like, bringing it up to every single person.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh,"
Mhm.
they would walk in, like, the new nurse, "Did you read the birth plan?"
Yeah.
And, like, it is so true because 'cause you're so in control, but you
Mhm.
don't realize it the first time around. It's almost like me or you trying to tell someone how to do HR or payroll,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna help you walk you through it, but, like, we're not gonna tell you on the back end, this is, like, really how, like, PTO laws work or something,
Right.
because we don't think you need that context to do what you need to do.
Right.
But as a person that's going through it and getting it done to you, you need to understand their
Mhm.
actual context behind it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
it was
think it is
interesting.
important. Like the birth plan, I'm like really putting a ton of effort into like every little piece of it. I might go as so far to even say that I don't want students because where I
That's
go,
one
it's a
she
very
had on there.
student, yeah, student heavy. And my epidural was such a pain because they had to place it like 3 times because they kept messing up. And I don't want to deal with, I just don't want to deal with that. And I know students have to learn and I try to be flexible, but I had such a bad experience the first time. I want to be like, it's okay, Megan, to request that. It's okay.
Well, and I'm almost questioning, right? Like, everyone said that balloon, that fully balloon thing that I
Yeah.
had was so horrible, so painful. Didn't you have it? And you said it was super painful.
It was really
I didn't
painful,
feel a
yeah.
thing, but a
Mhm.
student put mine in. So I'm not saying that the student didn't put it in right, because they also, like, pulled back the water that was in it when they, like, closed it out,
Mhm.
so, like, clearly there was water in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, and that's something that you would not know. You can request.
Mhm. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's good advice.
if you wanna send me what you have too, I'm
Yeah, I
gonna,
will.
like, once I get her, she said she was gonna try and send me hers, so I can send that to you too, but
Yeah. No, I'd like to see that.
we can, like, combine
Compare
ideas.
and yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and then I'm gonna bring it up to my doula too when we meet on the 19th. That's this week, right? Yeah. So
Oh my
I'll
gosh, yeah.
probably adjust it a little bit too, but I'll send you what I have so far.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think next episode we're gonna talk next. Yeah, next episode I think we're gonna talk about birth plans, so it could be a good time to
Yeah, I should probably
dig
have
into it.
something planned before then.
Yeah.
Ugh, but yeah, that's kind of what I decided. I'm gonna for sure move forward with like a super intense birth plan, and then whether I add a doula or not
Yeah.
will be dependent on if I find someone that's the right fit.
Yeah.
Um, okay, well that's kind of what's going on with me. Should we dive into our episode?
Let's do it. Welcome everybody to the Mom Era podcast. My name is Megan.
I'm Alyssa.
Today, we are chatting about ways to encourage natural labor. So, there isn't a lot of evidence based research out there, technically, about effective ways to induce natural labor. So, a lot of what we're talking about today is based on mostly anecdotal evidence or urban legends, wives' tales, that kind of thing. Most methods to induce labor are harmless. Others may have risks or unpleasant side effects, so definitely talk to your healthcare providers before trying any of these remedies. And ultimately, your body's going to go into natural labor once your baby and your body is ready to do so. But it doesn't hurt to help encourage it along the way.
Yeah, and towards the end of pregnancy, most women want to encourage natural labor. One, because they're like super uncomfortable and ready to get this baby out. But two, many hospitals do not want you to exceed 41 to 42 weeks pregnant. Kind of depends on the physician, the hospital. Our goal is to provide some, maybe it'll work methods to start labor. The most important thing to do is listen to your body every step of the way. And like caution, we did not use these
Mm-mm, not
yet,
with
so
our
this would be the
first.
first time we would plan to use these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, some of these I've, like, kind of started this time around. Like, last time I had planned to get induced, so it wasn't even top of mind because
hmm
I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get induced, my body's gonna be great," so I didn't think about it, but this time, I want a spontaneous labor, and I want a VBAC, and I don't wanna reach, 41, 42 weeks and them say, "Oh, we have to start inducing." it's hospital policy. But again, you can always push back on that stuff. It's your choice.
Isn't this so funny? Like when we first started this conversation, like you were like, "Oh, well, another C-section could be okay."
Yes.
And like now like we've actually done the research and we're like, "Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We're going to do it this way
Mhm.
if we can."
I know, isn't that funny? Yeah, no part of me wants to even consider a C-section unless it's medically necessary.
Yeah. Oh, but some ways are physical preparation techniques, or in the category of like physical preparation techniques. Some ways can be exercising and movement. So, light exercise such as walking, squats, prenatal yoga can help engage the baby and stimulate labor. Movements to help open up the pelvis and encourage the baby to move into optimal position, such as squatting, side lunges, rocking squats, swimming, engaged breathing.
Yeah, this
Um,
one I thought was really interesting because I saw something, I think it was a midwife talk about this on TikTok, where like one of the really, really important things about like inducing labor is making sure that your baby is descending into your pelvis. And that's like one of the telltale signs and whether you're going to have like a successful labor is whether or not they're doing that, which I just thought that would happen whenever it happens, but there really are exercises and movements you can do to like get them in the correct position.
well, and just thinking back, like the baby wasn't like in my pelvis when I went in
Mhm.
to be induced. And so, like, I had to get the baby in the pelvis.
Mhm.
And there was no connection and understanding that that needed to happen
Yeah.
before the baby was like pushing out.
Yeah, I didn't know there were those 3 areas that they measure. I had no idea. I thought you just had to, dilate and then baby would come out. I had no idea they were measuring, like, how far up in the pelvis they were, how soft your cervix was, and how dilated you are. So there's so many factors, but if your baby is at a high station, like, even if you're at 10 centimeters, they're not gonna come out. So you need to make sure you're encouraging them to descend, and if you're in the hospital and they're not descended, generally, if you have good physicians, they're helping you in
Get it
different
in.
positions to
Yeah.
get the baby down, which I don't know. I didn't have an understanding of that either. They just kept telling me when they would check me, like, where I was, and I didn't know that movement was good. Like, you and I both talked about we sat in bed a lot, and I feel like nobody really coached me on, like, things to do to
Yeah,
get
like
it
get on the
going.
ball, move around,
Mhm.
walk around. There wasn't any of that like try this, try that.
Yeah.
So I think just that limited knowledge is is so different.
Yeah. Ball movements is another physical one that's good. So bouncing, that can encourage dilation and also help the baby drop. Pelvic tilts are a really good one. It helps open your pelvis and encourage dilation. Also, circular hip rotations, doing the warrior pose, triangular pose, like those are really good ball movements. Lunges are also really good. That also helps open your pelvis with the ball movements. This is mostly what I've been doing, or like at night when I'm watching TV. I've just been bouncing pelvic tilts, rotations, and yeah, I feel like it's been helping. Sometimes I go to bed and I can just feel so much pressure. So I don't know if he's moving down there, if it's just me imagining, but it feels like it helps.
I tried some prenatal yoga, but I have a ball. I have a bouncing ball in my court. Oh my word, in my cart, so I
You
can
have a
order
bouncing
one.
ball in your court.
I'm playing basketball over here, you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have one in my cart to order. I just am waiting on some things before I place my order. But acupuncture and massage. So massaging key acupressure. It's not acupuncture, it's acupressure. Okay. Acupressure and massage. So massaging key acupressure points such as the perineum and lower back can help promote labor. Obviously, please research before doing any of these methods. I remember I don't know, maybe you can comment on this too. I remember them telling me like, "Oh, you can do the perineal massage last time." And I like remember like looking it up and I was just like, "Oh yeah, like okay." And then it just like went over my
Went
head.
over your head.
Like, there was nothing that I tried to do with that or anything.
First time I heard of it was when I was with a group of friends, and another friend of mine is pregnant, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna start this soon." And I'm like, "What is this? Like, what are perineal massages?" And she explained it to me. I was like, I had never heard of this. Like, I don't know how I went my full first pregnancy and labor and like nobody saying anything to me. Or again, I didn't do a lot of research on my own, but like, nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And then the last physical preparation is relaxing. So there are so many different ways that you can relax and different ways that people relax. Like, you relax differently than I do.
Hmm.
But just focusing on that relaxation because it does help your body go into labor. I was listening to a video, and like, when contractions start, sometimes, like, I think this doula was talking to someone and they were saying, like, throughout the entire day, like, the contractions started, but then they kind of like died down. But then they
Hmm.
said, like, once you relax and lay in bed, is normally when they would start up again because you're relaxed and you're not like in this like go, go,
Hmm.
go, getting everything done type of mode. So,
Yeah. And like in terms of relaxing too, I was reading that if you are like stressed or tightening your body or just not really encouraging like your body to flow naturally like you would when you're relaxing, you are kind of hindering movement from happening. And that can obviously cause issues if you're wanting to go into labor and you're just kind of like all tight. And so
hmm
they say to relax in preparation, but also when you are having contractions and to not like fight against them, to like relax and let them come and like use them versus trying to fight against it.
yeah.
So, some natural methods to encourage labor. Again, these are kind of anecdotal. There's not a ton of research behind them, but some people definitely say it has worked for them. Even midwives and doctors might bring them up to you as like ways to help your body and induce. So one way is nipple stimulation. So stimulating your nipples. So you could do this as if you were pumping, so hand expressing, maybe using a pump. Now, most providers tell you to wait at least to 37 weeks, sometimes even longer. So definitely talk to your provider. But this releases oxytocin and that can stimulate contraction. So, oxytocin is your body's natural, like love hormone, essentially. And Pitocin is the manufactured version of oxytocin. So, this is like a really good and safe way to possibly encourage contractions. But again, all of these things, you just want to make sure your body's ready and you're not doing it too early.
hmm Yeah. No, that's something I actually want to do because I want to collect the colostrum this time.
Hmm.
And I have to ask that at my next appointment when they would allow. I'm assuming 37 weeks, but I need to go
Yeah,
through and clean everything before I get to that point.
I do too. I've pulled it out. I just haven't cleaned it yet.
I know, me neither. Oh, that's going to be a process. But
I know.
food. So some believe that specific foods can help induce labor, such as dates, pineapple, or spicy foods. I have heard of the 2 dates a day. I've heard of the spicy foods. I've also heard of the pineapple. So I think a lot of it too doesn't necessarily just induce labor, but helps with your cervix
Hmm.
thinning. So, and like prepping it.
Yeah. Another one similar to food is herbal teas and supplement. So raspberry leaf tea and evening primrose oil are options some people consider. Obviously, it's not definitively proven, but it's said to help soften your cervix and help induce labor. Primrose oil, they say to wait for typically around 37 weeks, but herbal teas like the raspberry leaf tea, you can start much sooner and then up your dosage basically once you get closer to labor. I think I started raspberry leaf tea 30 weeks. I've been
I
having
plan
one
to
a
start
day.
at 30. Yeah.
Yeah, and then once I hit 35, I was gonna try to do 2 a day, but we'll see. I don't love the taste. So, but yeah, it's supposed to just help your cervix, like, naturally soften, and some people, they swear by it, so.
The primrose oil, is that like a pill you take or are you putting it down there?
I
I don't
think it's
remember.
something you let me look it up. I think it's something you digest, but that's a good question.
I've heard of it. I just don't know.
Castor oil is another one I heard about, but that one's, like, very controversial. Some providers even say not to do it. Um, yeah, they're like oil capsules to get cervix ready. But again, this is, I think, any oil you use, primrose oil, castor oil, you probably want to talk to your doctor first to make
Yeah.
sure you're not like taking supplements that you shouldn't during pregnancy or something that they don't advise. Some are okay with it, other ones aren't. But I think the raspberry leaf tea is one that's safe regardless of whatever, whether or not. I think that one's just safe.
Yeah. Another one would be sex. I just
I
wanted to be
like
really
the way
weird
you
about that.
said
I wanted to be weird, so y'all got my
that.
weirdness. Anyway, sexual activity, especially having an orgasm, can release oxytocin, which can, as mentioned, stimulate contractions. Sperm also contains
Yeah, good luck saying that.
prostaglandin, prostaglandin,
Prostaglandin. Obviously, we don't know how to say
prostaglandin.
this, but it
I don't know.
contains something.
It can help ripen the cervix. And I did hear this. Like I remember last time, like this is like what people would say to me.
hmm
But I didn't really feel like it
I know it's
last
hard.
time.
That's a hard one.
It's so hard. You're like literally feel like you're 100 pounds. You can't, or not 100 pounds. You feel so big. You feel like you can't sleep. You're tired. You can't move. You can't breathe. The last thing you want to do is have sex. But you know, whatever.
If you're
If it
desperate,
helps
wait.
induce labor, yeah, it's probably meant to be that way. It's probably how we were made.
Yep.
Oh,
So the last one we want to talk about is the membrane sweep. So obviously this has to be done by your doctor. So talk to them about it if it's something you're interested in. But the membrane or cervical sweep, it's a method that healthcare providers use to help encourage labor in pregnant women who are nearing or past their due dates. So what is the membrane sweep? Essentially what happens is the provider inserts a gloved finger into the cervix and gently like separates it from the amniotic sac, or they separate the amniotic sac from the cervix and the lower part of the ut- uterus. So this action essentially releases a hormone, so the same one, prostaglandins, which can help soften the cervix and stimulate contractions, potentially encouraging labor to start. So I have heard it's not comfortable and it can be somewhat painful, but for some, if your body's ready, it can start labor within hours or days, though sometimes multiple sweeps are necessary. If this is something you're interested in, so maybe your provider is saying, oh, we would like to induce you because maybe you're nearing like 41 or 42 weeks, maybe say, why don't we do the membrane sweep instead to see if my body can then go into spontaneous labor. I would say, from what I've heard, it's generally considered safe for most full term pregnancies, though it does come with minor risks. So, discomfort, spotting. It's not recommended if you have placenta previa or a low lying placenta. And then you also do have to remember that somebody is physically putting an outside source, whether, I mean, a gloved hand is as clean as you hoped it would be. But again, you're taking something outside and foreign and putting it up there where your baby is, and you are kind of could be encouraging infection. So that's why I don't know if this is something I've learned this time around is that you could say no to cervical checks because if you're worried about getting some type of infection, the more that they're kind of going up there, the more you have a chance of getting some type of infection, which I don't think they talk about. I think they like do cervical checks, right? But they never say, like, oh, hey, this could cause an infection. But
Mhm.
that kind of is the reality. So you just want to make sure you know both sides of things.
I just remember last time with my cervical checks, like I remember that being such a big thing, for my
Hmm.
first pregnancy, like going up to a cervical check. Like I didn't know what it was. I didn't know like what they're looking for. I didn't know anything. And like the first time they ever did it, like they were just like, okay, you're at like point 0.5. And I'm like, nothing like about what it was,
Hmm.
like what they're doing, why they're doing it. It was like I didn't even get an option. They just said, okay, you're gonna take your, you're gonna undress now because you'll start cervical checks now in 36 weeks or whatever it was.
So they did
And
them at your appointments?
yeah.
You started them? Okay, I didn't have any of my appointments.
Oh, you didn't?
Mm-mm.
It was either 36, 37. Yeah. It was at those appointments. Then they would check me every appointment after that.
Yeah, because
And
you
then in the
really don't
hospital.
need to be checked. Like that's the thing I'm like reading about is you'll know when your body's in labor. Like
Hmm.
there's really no reason for them to check you
Yeah.
before in any of these situations. You're just kind of
I
again
feel like
putting
unless you
yourself.
really want to know, but like
Yeah.
even then, it doesn't even tell you, like, I could be at a 4, and that doesn't mean I'm going into active labor right now.
No, some people
So,
can sit at a 2 for like a month. Like it really isn't telling you all that much until you are in active labor.
yeah. Yeah. So that was just interesting about that.
Yeah.
I
I
wish
think
I would
that's
have
interesting
been more
too.
educated.
Yeah, me too. I had no idea. I remember writing down everything they had said to me, like, because they gave me the three numbers every time they checked it when I was in labor.
Hmm.
They gave me, dilation, how soft my cervix was, and the station. And I would write it down and I had to like look it up. Honestly, I didn't fully understand what it was, I think, until we talked about our birth stories and I like dug into what they were telling me, which is probably way too late to like dig into
Yeah.
like what that actually meant. But, at the time, I was out of it.
Yeah. I didn't really keep track of anything. I just remember like they had checked me before I went into the hospital, like I was like a 1 or a 2
Hmm.
maybe, and then I had that ultrasound later in the week, and by the time I got in, I was only a 2. So it wasn't like,
Yeah.
yeah, like there was no progress, and I probably could have avoided like those 3 other cervical checks I had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like nothing when I started. I wasn't dilated. I could look at my numbers again. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, nothing.
yeah, it was like, yeah. Regardless, they were both like nothing.
Hmm. So did you
Um,
do any of these like for during your first pregnancy? Like
any of what?
natural? Well,
Oh
you were getting induced too, so it probably wasn't top of mind for you either.
no, I had talked about doing the raspberry leaf tea in the dates. Never did. I like had such ambitions, like with this
Hmm.
birth plan, with this raspberry leaf tea, the dates. Like I was not going to eat the spicy food because I'm not a spicy food person. Um, I did hear a little bit about the breastfeeding, like breast pumping, like a little bit, but I didn't research it enough to do anything. Like I was just really on that whole thing, like it's going to happen the
Hmm.
way it happens. And then I found out like I was going to be automatically induced at 40 weeks. So regardless, we were going to meet the baby then. So I feel like once I
Yeah.
found that out, I just kind of like, okay,
Hmm.
that's the plan. Um, but I did hear about the membrane cervical sweep. I never got asked about that or anything, but I don't know. After looking into it this time, kind of like questioning if I would even want to do that. Like I feel like I would be
Yeah.
okay with the cervical check, but I don't know that I want to do a membrane sweep unless I was getting
Yeah.
to that point, like you said, like 41
Hmm.
weeks. But
Yeah, that's how I am too. I did do raspberry leaf tea last time. I didn't. I maybe drank like 10. I think I had a thing, a leftover with like 5 left, and it was like 15 in the pack. So I must have drank like 10 last
mhm,
pregnancy. But I really didn't do anything else. I didn't research anything because I had talked to my physician and we had scheduled a 39-week induction like early in my pregnancy, it felt like.
mhm,
And so it just never was something I even considered or thought about because I was like, oh, I'm getting induced. I'm going at this time. Like everything's going to be fine, So I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to induce spontaneous labor in any way because I trusted that my body would take to induction. Little did I know that I was not favorable for induction. Again, I was zero dilated. I was like a 4 station. Like I just was not favorable at all. And the fact that they decided to move forward with me is just kind of crazy. Like
Yeah, and
thinking
in my
back.
mind, like, I thought you just, like, flip a switch and you start induction and it just happens, right? And
Hmm.
that's not how it works.
Yeah. No, not at all. Same. I'm not going to go into like a 37-week appointment and do a membrane sweep. Like to me, that is going to be like last case.
To
Like
induce natural labor, yeah.
to induce natural labor, because if I hit 42 weeks and they're like, "Oh, we can't have you go past a certain whatever." Again, it's my choice, but I think there's going to be a lot of fear about going any further. I bet you they're going to talk about the risks and I'm going to feel fearful, and I just know once I hit like 41, 42 weeks there's going to be an issue. So I will consider it at that time, but probably not any sooner.
Mhm. One thing that we didn't talk about was, like, the breathing. I haven't done so much research into it, but I've heard so much about, like, how that actually does really help. Have you done any research into the breathing? Or I guess that
During
doesn't
labor,
induce labor, but that's during labor
yeah, during labor I have, yeah.
to prepare for that. Okay.
Hmm. I mean, I while reading about it, they encourage you to practice before. I don't think it will necessarily like help induce, but I think it'll help you prepare when you
Yeah,
need to
preparing. I was
do it.
thinking about it from
Yeah.
a preparing
Hmm.
perspective, not inducing. But yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I
So we'll
think
have to talk
all
about if any of these work for us if we
yeah,
do
because
them.
we're gonna try a lot of them.
Hmm.
So yeah. Oh, I can feel baby boy moving now. Okay.
Yay.
I had like I don't know, did you have Braxton Hicks? No, you have him more now with Eleanor.
Yeah, I never had them with Eleanor, or at least I remember being on a non-stress test and I could see them on the non-stress test and I didn't feel a single thing, but I definitely feel them this time.
See, I like felt them so often with Axel and like now, like honestly I've had like 5 maybe where I had
Hmm.
them like every day with Axel. And it's so
Yeah,
weird that I
that
just
is
didn't
weird.
have them that often with this one. Yeah.
I wonder what, like, maybe your body's like, I know what I'm doing. And maybe mine's
Yeah.
like, I'm trying, I'm
Maybe we
gonna
need to
try
redo this again.
again. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you everyone for joining our Mom Era podcast. We hope this was helpful. Just different ways that we researched and found some different ways that we researched and found for inducing natural labor and encouraging it. I think there's a lot of different things out there. There's so many more to what we have right here. But it's very important, and I think both Megan and I are realizing it this time around. Um, like just being knowledgeable. The more knowledge you have, the more you know what the heck is going on, and you're the boss. You're
Hmm.
the boss when it comes to that. They can educate you, and then you can make the decision. And obviously, if there's a medical reason you need to make a decision, then you should be asking why am I making this decision? What's all the details? So it's just very, very interesting on all these ways that we're going to try this time, and we'll let you know if they work.
Yeah, our perspective is so much different this time around.
Yeah, yeah. But we should go into our mom eras. What mom era are you in?
I'm just like back now. It isn't as bad as first trimester, but I'm just back to feeling like cement. Like my body is just tired. I'm having trouble like moving, and my back has been hurting, my pelvis has been hurting, and I just like I have so much guilt, I think, like with my time with Eleanor because I just am just really struggling to keep up
Mhm.
um and be present and active. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like again just starting to feel super exhausted. I like napped all weekend. I slept in yesterday. It was my sleep-in day, so I slept in until like 10, and then I took a nap when Eleanor took a nap for an hour. So it's like I'm just back to feeling quite tired. So I'm excited that I'm nearing the end of the road here because I am ready. I, what I hate about pregnancy tired, let me just get into it for a minute, is that it doesn't go away. Like you
No, it
can
doesn't.
get sleep and you still feel so tired. Whereas I feel like newborn tired, you
Can
are
sleep like 4
tired.
hours and
Uh
feel,
huh.
like, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just tired because you're lacking sleep. But if you were to take a nap, you would feel better. Whereas like pregnancy tired, you take a nap and you don't feel better. You still feel tired.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I sent you a TikTok on this today.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. It literally was, like, describe or last night, it was describing, pregnancy tired versus newborn tired, and they said, like, pregnancy tired is, um,
Is it the fish
like,
one you
basically,
sent
like,
me?
you could sleep 24 hours and still what?
I remember you sent me one about a fish. Oh, that was movement. Never mind.
That
Okay,
was the
sorry. Go
movement, yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, you could sleep for 24 hours and still feel tired and, like, exhausted, like, your body
Mhm.
hurts, body aches, whatever. But, like, newborn tired is you could sleep for 24 hours and, like, run a marathon, right?
Mhm.
Because it's just, like, sleep tired, it's not, like,
Yes.
exhaustion, full body exhaustion,
Yes.
but
Yes.
yeah.
Nope, that's exactly right. What,
But yeah,
mom era are you in?
I'm not really sure other than, what I can think of is our ho-ho mom era.
Oh, yeah.
Every time we see Santa, every time we see anyone say anything about Santa, every time we see a snowman, anything about Santa, we just say ho ho, ho
Ho
ho.
ho.
It's not the three ho hos, it's
Just ho
just
ho?
ho ho.
That
And
makes it
so
funnier.
we walked around Great Wolf Lodge just saying ho ho, ho ho.
Has he seen Santa yet?
Yeah, yeah. We took him to see Santa at that Bass Pro Shop. You get a free
Mm.
picture,
Mhm.
and yeah, he was so excited. He was waving to Santa, and then the little boy in front of him screamed and cried. So then he screamed and like
Oh,
he
no.
didn't scream and cry, but he was like anxious and scared then after he saw the little
Mhm.
boys cry. And I'm like, "Ah, come on."
I
But yeah,
know.
we're in our ho ho era.
I love that. Ho ho.
Oh, and it's so intense too. It's like ho ho. It's not like I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah,
I love it.
yeah. But thank you everyone for joining our Mom Era podcast today. We hope that this was a fun one and again, ow. Oh my god, I just
He
got
kicked
kicked
you?
really hard.
That's what
Okay.
you get for talking about earlier. He's like, "Oh, you don't feel me, mom? Feel
Yeah,
this."
it was so hard. Uh anyway, we hope this was helpful. Um and just some ideas again, these are ways to encourage natural labor. We are not physicians. We don't have, the proven expertise to say that they all do work, but we're going to try some of them this time and we
Mhm.
will give you some feedback.
Yeah.
So feel free to follow us at momera_podcast on TikTok or Instagram and email us at momerapodcast@gmail.com.
Bye bye.
Bye.